What's going on, y'all? It's Michelle URL here with Untwisting the Game Crypto, and today we're going to talk about how I got liquidated on Celsius and how I still have funds being held hostage on Celsius. At this point, it's been about 2 to 3 weeks after that initial announcement of funds being frozen and accounts being frozen on Celsius. So I've had some time to really kind of sit with this reality, and I have some lessons learned and also some key takeaways that I want to share with you all. So first I want to talk about how I'm feeling right now, because I think this is important. How I'm feeling right now is at peace. And I know I sound like a broken record talking about this, but one of the things that I did before depositing funds on the Celsius app is become very aware that those funds are technically not mine anymore, right? I'm giving them to a custodian, and I made peace with any potential outcome that would come from that, right? So even though I knew that, right, we hear all the stories, we read all the literature, we read all the mini documentaries about how once you hand over your funds to an institution, a company, a bank, whatever, how they're not yours, and essentially they can do what they want, right, with your funds. Even though I knew all that, I did it anyway, right? And so for me, luckily, I haven't lost the shirt off my back by doing that, because again, understanding that and not feeling that it was a far-fetched possibility, but knowing that it was a possibility, that kept me in a state of only putting funds on there that I was willing to lose, right? And that's what I did. So again, I was able, while all of this was unfolding and the chaos was unfolding with all of this, I was still doing fine because I had already made peace with potentially not seeing those funds again. Didn't think it would happen, but here we are, right? So now I want to talk about, like, what exactly did I lose? So I had 2 loans open. I had one on I had a BTC loan and an Ether-backed loan as well. And my liquidation points for Ether was around 1,300. For BTC was around 1,800. So did I have the additional collateral to put up for these loans when I got margin called? Absolutely. Did I do it? No, I did not, because at that point I no longer trusted the platform or the company. So for me, it didn't make any sense for me personally to add that additional collateral, because I was okay with taking the L. I just decided to take the L. So again, I didn't lose the shirt off my back. Did it sting? Absolutely. Do I open up my Celsius app and see, a nice chunk of funds still sitting in there that I cannot access? Yes, I see that when I go into the app, but I also am aware I'm moving forward as if I'm never going to see those funds again. So when I open, as a matter of fact, I just opened up my Celsius app this morning. I'm just pretending it's not even there at this point. Now, I hope I get those funds back. I hope everyone does, because some people, they were literally putting their life savings into this app. And just to think about, it's just crazy to think about how, like I said, it's one thing to read about it, it's another to actually experience it, right? Because here you have people, including myself, who have been dollar cost averaging year after year after year after year, who have been accumulating, and we chose to deposit those funds on Celsius. Again, with all the marketing and slogans of unbank yourself and down with the banks, whatever, right? And lo and behold, Celsius is worse than a bank at this point, right? So going back to my point, I think if anything, it's just really frustrating to know that someone can be accumulating these cryptos, accumulating Satoshis. They decide to deposit on this app and they literally cannot access the funds. So that's what gets me, right? I could be having an emergency right now, a major life event happen right now, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing I can do right now to retrieve those funds. So it's absolutely mind-blowing. And like I said, one thing to read about it, another thing to actually experience it. Wow. So yeah, at this point, I got liquidated, and I basically chose to get liquidated because I did have the additional collateral. I just chose not to put it up. I chose not to deposit it because why at this point? I'd rather take the L and rebuild my positions back. So where am I at now moving forward? I really enjoyed the lending and borrowing process. Now, will I do it again on a centralized platform? Absolutely not. It's a no for me. I'm really big on learning a lesson one time, if possible. I don't want to learn it twice or three times. So for me moving forward, you will not catch me on another centralized lending and borrowing platform. Absolutely not. So what I'm doing right now is looking at options with decentralized applications, right? And so, long story short, y'all, we're all learning lessons here. Some of us learning very expensive lessons, and that's crypto. And as I've said before, I have a video about this on my Instagram. Whatever we lose, if Celsius chooses, or if Celsius doesn't give our funds back, if whatever happens here in the crypto space, if you lose some money, you can make it back. I know it sucks. I know it's easy to get depressed over, but we have to have a warrior mindset in these markets, and we're gonna be okay. So hopefully this was informative or gave you some more insight on what is going on, at least in my head, with this whole situation. I don't know. These centralized platforms are just a hot mess, y'all. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. And to be honest, if anyone, they could not pay me to use Celsius after this. And honestly, if anyone uses Celsius after this, I'm gonna pray for you, to be honest. Put you on the sick and shut-in list. But that's it, y'all. Like this video, subscribe, comment below. How are you feeling? What are your next moves? What are your thoughts on this catastrophe? Peace, y'all.